Robin mentioned that when I was asked how I want my title to be, I said a 28-year myeloma patient. It used to say, or the suggestion was, a 28-year myeloma survivor. For me, patient, much more than survivor, indicates the journey that myeloma patients actually go through. We are always waiting for the other shoe to drop, regardless of we are in remission or in extended treatment holiday, or we are in active treatment. So for me, over the last 28 years, it really describes being a patient better than being a survivor. I do understand the dictionary definition of a survivor is, or survival actually starts the minute you are diagnosed, but this is how I internalize the fight, the dance, the journey that we myeloma patients make. So having said that, I stand here before you as president and CEO of the International Myeloma Foundation. For those of you who haven't been around IMF for a long period of time, next year we'll celebrate our 35th anniversary since we were founded. So hands for us. So the IMF was founded by three visionary people. Brian Novis was a myeloma patient at age 37, and he died before he turned 40. Susie Dury, who was his wife at that time, and they found Brian Dury, not in the US, actually, outside of the US, because they, even at that time, understood that myeloma doesn't have border, myeloma treatment should not have border, and myeloma expertise really can and should come from around the globe. So the IMF will always be grateful for the three founder visionaries and what they have done for the IMF, for me personally, and for thousands of patients around the world. So I mentioned to you that I am a myeloma patient. I was diagnosed in 1995, 3 months before my 26th birthday, and told I would be dead before I turned 30. And doctor called me at a place where I was doing internship, and he said, "Hey, Yelak, you have multiple myeloma. It is not curable, but come to my office and we'll figure out what the treatment options for you are." He never said cancer, so the approach I came up with at that time was, he didn't say cancer, he said you will die, but he really didn't indicate he knew when. So I said, I'm going to fight this as much as I can. And at that time, the drug of choice that was available, some of you here know what that is VAD, vincristine, adriamycin, and Dex. So you guys complain about being in the hospital for 3-4 hours when you are getting your daratumumab infusion. This was a 72-hour infusion that lasted days. The advancement when I got myeloma was that instead of being in the hospital, they actually gave you a pump you carried, and you carried that pump for 3 days plus wherever you went. In the bathroom, in the shower, in school, work, or whatever it is that you want to do. That is actually me. I actually cropped that picture because I was showing too much leg. But that thing you see in the bag is actually all of the medicines that I needed to carry for the 3-4 days that I was on treatment. And this is really a life, as many of you know, giving blood, waiting for your blood work to come back, deciding what to do next, finding your myeloma expert, and having them explain what you have just heard from your MyChart results has been really the journey that I have traveled, and I'm sure many of you have traveled. And one of the number one questions I get actually is, oh, you are a 28-year survivor because you haven't been on treatment the first few years, or you were diagnosed as an MGUS. You'll have this as part of the QR code. The red items on that are all the treatments that I have been on. So I have been on many drugs, have had at least 5 remissions and relapses, and I think I have chosen to get up whenever I relapsed. I have chosen to celebrate whenever I achieved however long that remission is, and I have really chosen to educate myself, connect with others, and build the relationships I need in order to be able to navigate my myeloma journey. But as I mentioned to you at the IMF, it's not just about me. Sometimes it is, but not always about me. It is also about the patients that touch us and we serve. This is Purnima. She lives in the Bay Area. She was diagnosed with multiple myeloma in 2021 at age 39. And she had, those things are not really pumpkins. Those are her twin daughter and son that were 1 year old at that time. And her thought process was, I have myeloma, it is incurable, it is cancer, I'm going to die of it. Do I have 3 months? Do I have 1 year? Do I have 5 years? So life, as she said, it was very turbulent during those times. This is actually her right after she got her stem cell transplant and really went back away from her family for a period of time to recover. And that 90-day quarantine, this is her during that time. During her diagnosis, she also had a lot of soft questions, right? What treatment should I be on? What help is available for me, for my physician, for my family, financial and emotional? Who are these? She called us unicorn patients that have survived 10, 15, 20, and in some cases 30 years. So she was able to find me, and she and I had a conversation, and we kept in touch throughout her myeloma journey. And this is her now. She has really been, she had founded a genomics company, and she has been promoted from just being a CEO to a president. And she was invited and gladly joined the board of directors of the International Myeloma Foundation. So I tell you that to tell you also that myeloma is and can be relentless opponent in your myeloma journey. Once you have myeloma, however long is your remission, I recently heard of a patient who has gone through a stem cell transplant and has been off all treatments for over 20 years. And I hear there are many of them like that. But all of these patients, whether you are in treatment or in remission, you are actually waiting for the next shoes to drop. And all of us live blood test to blood test, whether it is monthly, quarterly, every 6 months, or on a yearly basis. So our goal at the International Myeloma Foundation has always been to empower patients with myeloma and their loved ones to live a full life. But our promise has been, and will continue to be, we will fight alongside you every step of the way. So the way I describe the International Myeloma Foundation is this way, right? The mission of improving the quality of life of myeloma patients while working towards prevention and a cure has been our founding mission. And not only were we interested in finding the cure and preventing myeloma, we were also really interested in ensuring that myeloma patients have a full life and a high quality of life. The vision that we have articulated and started speaking towards is a world where every myeloma patient can live life to the fullest, unburdened by the disease. We understand that as a myeloma patient, you'll have ups and downs, but our goal is to make sure that each one of you, your loved ones, caregivers, your family member is able to live a full life. Whether a full life is jumping off the airplane for you, or a full life is being able to take a walk from here to your room. So those are really our now vision and mission, and they are all boldly, in my opinion, formed on our 4 founding pillars of support, education, advocacy, and research. That is why that the IMF has been a holistic organization, an organization that has really been able to bend, go up and down with the times as needed, because we have 4 solid founding pillars of support, education, and advocacy and research. And we are able to support the family, the patient, and the other doctors around the US and in the world to be able to meet patients wherever they are. When I came to the IMF, one of the things we said was we need a multi-year strategy on how to move the IMF forward and meet the challenges of today, but also be prepared for the challenges of tomorrow. Over time, instead of making those strategy outcomes, we decided to make them guiding principles. How is the IMF going to meet those challenges? How are our programs to continue to thrive and evolve in order to meet those challenges? And we came up with input from you, patients, key opinion leaders, pharma companies, and many other people that are within the IMF ecosystem. We have three guiding principles. Number one is raising the bar. Every program that we have done, we are doing, and we will be doing, we will understand its impact, we'll measure its reach, and make sure that it is driven with input from each one of you as we move forward. So when you give us feedback today, and your feedback from tomorrow, it just doesn't come to me, it doesn't go to the shredder. It actually goes to informing us how we can improve our programs as we move forward. And this patient and family seminar was tweaked, if you would. We had a really good patient and family seminar in the past, but we feel like this one is a step above that because we have collected feedback literally from 1,500 patients and family members who have attended our seminars over the previous 18 months, and that is what we use to inform how we tweaked the programs here today. So our goal will continue to be to listen to your voice, adjust our programs, and meet you in the challenge of today wherever we need to adjust as an organization. The second one is broadening our reach. The IMF reached thousands of patients, thousands of key opinion leaders and myeloma specialists from around the world. But we still believe that we are not reaching all those who we need to reach in order to really bend this curve and flatten it. And I don't mean kill it, it's actually make sure that everybody is living their full life. So one of the things that we are advocating for is, can we reach 90% of the myeloma patients that are diagnosed with myeloma within 90 days of their diagnosis and ensure that they have the information they need, they have the resources they need in order to be able to battle myeloma for the rest of their lives. This could be connecting them with key opinion leaders. This could be providing them expert opinion. This could be helping them navigate their resources, or this could be actually telling them, that doctor you see over there, Dr. Joe, you may not want to be with him. Find another doctor, maybe go to Emory or something like that, right? We want to be able to say that. The last one is we really want to be able to innovate every step of the way. We see Amazon, we see Netflix, and other what I call for-profit organizations significantly taking advantage of today's technology in order to personalize and customize services to the population they serve. Why can't we use those same technologies, those same advances in data and analytics, in order for us to be able to provide a more personalized experience for you? And I chose the word experience intentionally. We don't want to have a transactional relationship with you. We don't want Eric to come get something from IMF website, come to the patient and family seminar, and then we don't see him until the next time when he needs us or when we need him. I really want to make sure that we are transforming our interaction with you from being transactional to experiential. We want to improve your experience of having to live with myeloma. Whether you are a newly diagnosed patient here with a broken back, or someone who have gone through a transplant, and because you are double hit myeloma, that transplant hasn't really worked for you. We want to make sure that we provide you the experience you need and you want and you deserve in order to live a full life with myeloma. So one of the questions I keep on asking myself and getting feedback from others is, not how we become a superpower, but understanding what is IMF's superpower today that we should be leveraging and amplifying as we continue to move forward with our research and support education and advocacy strategies. So the 4 pillars are this, and I won't read all of the programs here, but one of the things that I'm really proud of, because I grew up in that system, is the IMF support groups. We have over 150 of them in the US. I was a part of the North Texas Myeloma Support Group, the best ever support group. Right? No? Okay. Then I moved to Arkansas for work. There was no support group. I felt alone, and I felt like I was really living myeloma by myself, although I have had all of the supports that I had. So I ended up forming a support group in the Northwest Arkansas area, and I said, I'm not going to navigate this journey by myself. So I tell you to tell you that you don't have to navigate your myeloma journey by yourself. You don't have to recreate the playbook. You can actually have others help you, but be open to that help as needed. We also have an info line. Missy is somewhere in the back. Teresa, she mentioned that yesterday. She is here in the front. We also not want to just engage with you here and be done. We don't want to just engage with you on social media, on our website, and be done. We really want to make sure that if you need, you have the ability to call someone who's able to answer your question. Do we need to expand our info line? Probably. Do we need to provide more service through our info line? Probably, but it is really one of our signature offerings that we have had for the last 25 years plus. The other one, as it comes to research, is the research you may have heard from the International Myeloma Working Group, or IMWG. That is a collection of over 320 key opinion leaders from around the world that come together and decide what are the unmet needs, how do we move the guidelines of treatment forward, and how do we engage and interact with the Food and Drug Administration for drug approvals and providing treatment outlines. And these are key opinion leaders today from 41 different countries, and over the last 15 years have published over 62 papers that have been published in the major journals. And today, actually, the Food and Drug Administration, the European Medical Association use some of these guidelines as it relates to treatment outcomes, and things like that. So this is really one of our key superpowers that we have, is being able to convene various key opinion leaders, in spite of them, making fun of them working at Mayo or Emory or TGen. They are choosing to work with each other in order to advance science on behalf of myeloma patients. These key opinion leaders work from MGUS all the way to relapsed refractory multiple myeloma and anything in between. So that you say, okay, your focus is on research only? No, we do the same thing as Daniel showed you yesterday on advocacy side. We advocate for access. We want to eliminate financial barriers, and we want to secure fundings for research by working with others in the same space, HealthTree, MMRF, LLS, and others. Yes, I called their name. Because we are wanting to collaborate on behalf of you. And when I say sometimes at IMF is about me, not me as president and CEO, but me putting on my patient hat, I want to make sure that we advocate for that. But the question I have been asking myself and others and key leaders within the IMF and outside of the IMF is everything we do enough? Are we doing enough? Initially, I started answering it no. But no meant like what we did, we should not have done, right? But so I have tweaked it based on feedback from people. It is now yes, but we are doing a lot, but we need to do more. And the question then is, where should we be doubling down on our effort and resources as we move forward? And these are 5 areas. This is not a timeline. These are all the things that we'll be doing at the same time as we move forward. Number 1 is can we ensure that you are diagnosed on a timely manner? I don't want to necessarily say early diagnosis is good, but are you diagnosed in a timely manner? If you talk to Richard back there, he will tell you that he was a day away from his kidneys shutting down and being able to not get off apheresis for the rest of his life. And he was 2 days away from actually completely dying of multiple myeloma that was undiagnosed. There are many stories like that in the patient population that I can tell you that if they were diagnosed timely manner, their outcome could have actually been much, much better. So that's number one. The second one is if you are diagnosed with myeloma in a timely manner, you should also have access to good quality care. And we are working through coalitions, through our support, education, advocacy, and research arms in order to ensure that patients have the access they need to good quality care. But the other item that's related to that is also being able for you to have access to novel therapies, bispecifics, CAR-Ts, and anything else that may be coming down the line. We want to make sure that you have access to that. What does that mean? It means that not only will we be advocating for those drugs to be accessible, but we will also make sure that we advocate for you to participate in clinical trials to bring those drugs into market. That's why Dr. Joe and I yesterday focused for 30 minutes what it takes to actually go through a clinical trial. The fourth one is we need to ensure that we do research that matters. In the slide I showed you during my diagnosis, the first 40 years from the 50s into the 90s, there was 2 approved drugs, all of them in the treatment of myeloma as it relates to high-dose chemotherapy. From 2000 to today, over the last 20 years, there are 17 brand new drugs that have been approved for the treatment of multiple myeloma. But we believe that that's not enough. We at IMF, in collaboration with others, want to make sure that research that matters most to the patients is done, research that matters most to drug approvals is done, and we want to continue to bend the curve so myeloma becomes curable. The last item is a strategic collaboration. We'll collaborate with whoever wants to collaborate with us in order to move the needle forward for multiple myeloma. And so how do we translate those 5 items into a strategic priority for us, for the International Myeloma Foundation? Number one is I told you when I spoke of our info line, we are doing a lot of work there, but we can do more. So leveraging our unparalleled access to the myeloma patient population, key opinion leaders, our relationship with industry, payers, and others, we want to stand concierge service for myeloma patients. I can't call any myeloma doctor in the world, not because I'm a president and CEO of the IMF, but because over the years I have been able to build the relationships through the various work I have to get me into something. How can we ensure that same level of access that I have actually is democratized, if you allow me to use that word? But we also understand that 60+% of myeloma patients get diagnosed and get treated in the community physician's hospital. So we need to also provide lifelines to the community physicians to understand when Todd is sitting in front of them, what treatment has he been on and what treatment is recommended for Todd. So that is really the concierge service we want to bring in order for us to be able to reduce the time to hope. The second one is the craziness today is related to real-world evidence. We want to use not only clinical trial data and or sanitized data like that, but input from you and your experiences in order for us to be able to inform research and policy as we move forward. And the last item is, Dr. Joe says, the question is the answer. What is the question that really needs to be answered in order for us to make meaningful progress towards finding this cure, ensuring that we don't have to, hopefully someday, take DEX and really be able to live a full life. And we believe that we have initiated that thought process through our scientific advisory board, which brings me to this almost last slide, which is we are not only the industry, not only the landscape and the ecosystem is going through a transformation, we are going through a transformation as well as IMF, right? For the first time in our 34-year history, we have a non-founder president and CEO, and we have a non-founder board chair. Our guiding principle will still be you, the patient. We will still be patient-centered and will advance the need of the patient. But we have gone through a transformation, and we will continue to go through a transformation in order for us to meet the challenges of tomorrow. We have significantly new board members that have really helped challenge our thinking, and have some of them are, I think in this room maybe, have become my bosses that are holding me extremely accountable, not only to what we say, but also to the patient population. And then the last one is ensuring that we do research that is meaningful through the scientific advisory board. And one of the speakers today is a member of the IMF scientific advisory board, and we are very bullish where we want to go using that. But I want to conclude this with this. What did I say yesterday? My motto is to live as long as possible with the utmost quality of life possible. Understanding myeloma is not yet curable. But one thing I want to continue to remind you, and you should not forget, is while avoiding to die, don't forget to live. So that is my last slide. And before I turn it over to Dr. Joe, I want to show you this, and then I'll let Dr. Joe come.